And there we are.
Here we are.
It is the all-new or somewhat new Jeff Dubay Show with Jason Linse.
Take two.
Hopefully we've got the, this is episode 7, take 2. We did this 2 days ago. I screwed up the audio. I believe I've corrected it. Again, it's kind of an echoey room. So, I mean, it's always going to be a little echoey.
It's a fitness center.
But
it's a gym.
It is, exactly. It's not like some full-blown, sound booth with, the foam egg thing on the wall. It's nothing like that. But it's not meant to be. It is, as we said, Uptown Fitness, which is the sponsor, and you go ahead and tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, we're located.
Because you can look like this.
We'll make you more athletic. We are located at 1207 Lagoon Avenue, right in the heart of Uptown. If you know where Cub Foods is, I'm seeing Cub Foods' reflection in the mirror.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's it. Right there.
Then we're right there on Lagoon Avenue, and we are a true small group personal training gym. Who are we for? Now, we do offer private training. If you want that, we've got you covered. But if you're somebody who wants the benefit, the results of one-on-one training, but without having to pay all the money that goes along with one-on-one training, if you want cost sharing,
stop bumping this.
Sorry, we're for you. So the cool thing is everybody gets a free session. So if you go to uptownfitnessmn.com, the guy that owns uptownfitness.com wanted way too much money for that domain name, so we went with uptownfitnessmn.com. You can learn out more about us and schedule a free session that way.
And thanks to Phil Olson for checking in with it sounds much better. We got the thing cleared up. I had the wrong input. I'm not going to get into the technical side of things, but the microphone was sitting here right in front of us. It was not what was feeding the podcast. So it was my mistake. Feel bad for it. Phil Olson, by the way, big Packer fan. So it's fitting that Phil has checked in. 71-year-old Packer fan, and a hell of a guy, by the way.
So he remembers Lynn Dickey, Lindy Infante, Forrest Gregg.
Yes, there are people who. I mean, when I grew up, okay, like age-wise, when I grew up, they were
the laughing stock.
They were absolutely laughing stock, and my early memories of my childhood. I mean, I was born in '68, so my early memories are the early 70s. I remember watching Vikings games with my dad. 70, 73, 74. I remember watching a couple of Super Bowls with my dad. I remember being really hopeful for a little while in that Raiders game. I remember being really frustrated during the Steelers game because the Vikings just couldn't move the ball at all. They lost 16-6. But in the Raiders game, the Super Bowl, which would have been in 77, 76 season, 77 Super Bowl, I believe.
I'll trust you.
Ray Guy, probably acknowledged as the greatest punter of all time,
Hall of Fame,
had never had a punt blocked in his illustrious career. Vikings force a punt right off the bat. Fred McNeil blocks the punt. The Vikings were phenomenal back in the day with special teams. I mean,
a lot of punts.
They were so good. It's on special teams. And we got the ball first and goal, like the 1, the 2, whatever. You got Chuck Foreman, and they give it to Brent McClanahan, and he fumbles. He fumbles it away on the 1 yard.
It was a Viking.
Heartbreaking.
Fumbling in a big
game.
Yeah,
I mean, there goes the early optimism. Just gone. I can't even. Can you hear that? Yeah, you're better at it than I am. So anyway, we are live at Uptown Fitness. And did you finish telling the folks about it, or did I cut you off? Because you're banging into the microphone.
Please, ADD. We're good.
It's not ADD.
Check out Uptown. Why you don't remember what I talked about? You're too focused on my banging.
Well, no, I'm too focused on the technical.
Short-term memory loss.
No, I'm focused on the technical aspects of the show for good reason. Because a week ago we were about as technically sound as the Vikings.
It was a great
line.
show, fresh off the debacle that was Monday Night Football.
Yeah, it was a debacle.
You ranted and
God.
I don't know. I'm not going to ask you to re-rant. Maybe
is re-rant a word?
I don't know. We just made one up.
But
but the one that I do want you to talk about Kirk Cousins 2-3 days from the last time you did. 2 days.
Yeah, well, but I've calmed down. At least I've attempted to. There were 3 factors that kind of equally contributed to the complete disaster that we saw in Monday Night Football. Number one, and I'm going to put these in no particular order. They're not prioritized. They all equally sucked. Game plan / play calling I thought was absolutely atrocious. Now it's laughable to look back. I kind of admired it at the time, but it's kind of laughable now to look back at the quotes from Zimmer going into the week of the game, talking about how we're not going to change our game plan. Our game plan's not going to change. I can maybe at the time I'm thinking, okay, that's a lot of respect. Your offensive line, you're putting a lot of stock in them. You're giving Mike Boone a lot of credit, and he looked good against the Chargers. We've seen some flashes in the preseason. I thought, okay, they know something we don't. Don't change the game plan. I mean, it would be kind of bold to say that if you had your number 2 back available, which they did not. But it's extraordinarily bold to say it when you're going with your third and fourth halfbacks back there who rushed for 27 and 28 yards respectively. So I mean, clearly the game plan wasn't good. The offensive line, our offensive line is I don't want to say enigmatic, 'cause that's almost giving them too much credit. That's making it sound like we don't know why they suck. And they don't suck. They're very good against. I mean, not against. They're very good in the run game. They're the zone blocking schemes. This get out in space, be athletic. Rather than just pick the guy across the line from you and just road great style, push him back 3-4 yards. That's not the Viking style. It's get out, they pull, they get out in space. They're leading the backer on the end, whatever, and they're good at that. They are athletic enough, especially up the middle. You don't see guards and centers much more athletic than what the Vikings do have with Bradbury, Elflein, Klein, and such. But the Vikings are not good at pass protection. Riley Reif is awful. Riley Reif is a horrible, and I know that they had some. He was kind of I think he was kind of a last resort, bringing him back in the offseason.
Yeah.
I think they wanted to go some other directions, and then it just didn't present itself.
Yeah.
And then when they had the opportunity to draft Bradbury, a center number 1, it was pretty clear they're going to be bringing back Riley Reif because they weren't going to be able to replace him. And it's a shame. The Vikings. I mean, anybody who's watched the Vikings over the last few years knows that really going into each off season, one of the things you'd think they'd be stressing, and I think that they were stressing, was fixing the offensive line. It's just it's more easily said than done.
Apparently.
Yeah, and it's to see Zadarius Smith have the day he had rushing the pass. Now he's a very good pass rusher. I will give this to the Packers, and
their front four's good.
Well, they can get after a quarterback. I mean, again, they're. I don't have the current rankings in front of me, but I was looking in the rankings recently. I saw 21st against the pass and 25th against the run, I want to say. I might have those numbers reversed, but either way, they were in the 20s against both the run and the pass. Less than overwhelming. I mean, and certainly the offense hasn't been great. They've run the ball, but it's been a big story all year that Rodgers hasn't really taken to this offense and that he hasn't put up really big numbers. It's really amazing to me that they are, what are they, 12-3? 12-3 right now?
By the way, if they're
probably going to go
team ever.
But I got to give them a little respect. I don't know how they're doing it. Smoke and mirrors, whatever. They're going to go 13-3 and be a number 2 seed in the NFC.
Probably. Yeah. It might be a number 1 seed. Hey, by the way, is there any more proof you need than Rodgers in the Pro Bowl to prove it's a popularity contest? Not that we really need that as proof, but what's he doing in the Pro Bowl?
Well, and again, I don't blame them for putting him in there. I mean, it's nobody watches it.
Nobody, he's not going to play in it either. But
you never know. I guess it depends. I mean, it depends on what happens in the playoffs.
He wants to take the race car driver to Hawaii. Is it in Hawaii again, or are they going?
I think it's Orlando. Yeah. I think it's in Orlando. But I mean, they want to put in the biggest names possible. Try to get people to watch a game that nobody cares about. Was it a player vote? I thought it was. I thought it was a vote.
I don't know who voted.
I thought it was a fan. It might be. Who cares? I couldn't pay less attention. I mean, the Major League Baseball All-Star Game is literally the only professional All-Star game that I pay any attention to, and I love it. I think the Major League Baseball All-Star Game is a
never watched an All-Star game.
It's a legitimate contest. It's a legitimate athletic contest. It's a lot of fun to watch.
Is it anymore? There was a period of time where winning it or losing it mattered. The All-Star Game.
Well, for like 15 years, and it was.
Yeah, that was cool, wasn't it, or no? You didn't like that?
I don't know. Yes and no. I mean, I guess it had it. Yes and no.
I liked it.
But I mean, they've since then they've increased the roster size. Now they've changed some of the rules in baseball that I hope probably won't apply to the All-Star Game. Like, we could talk about this later. Maybe
get back to the shitty Vikings.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, there's these new rules in baseball where a pitcher comes in, a relief pitcher, he's got to either face 3 hitters or get to the end of the inning.
This is going to happen?
Yeah, no, it's already approved. It's a bizarre rule, and it's going to
like it.
It's going to make a seismic shift in how the game is managed and how rosters are managed.
I like it.
Well,
you have to explain to me why I shouldn't like it.
It'll speed games up.
Well, that's what number 1 reason I like it.
But it takes away a lot of strategy and it makes things kind of random. And we'll talk about it down the road because I am a great baseball mind, and we will definitely talk.
At least you think you are.
Talk a lot of baseball. We're still hoping that the Twins can make some kind of move to bolster their squad, other than just bringing back players. The White Sox are getting awfully good, awfully fast in free agency.
Would you go
back?
But
I digress.
Right.
I digress. So the offensive line, the play calling was bad. The game plan was bad. The offensive line was atrocious. All right. But I'm not going to write Kirk Cousins a pass on this. He was equally culpable for this. He was awful. And it wasn't just, it would be one thing to dismiss or excuse just a routine poor athletic performance, because we do that all the time. We see athletes play poorly, but it's a different thing with Kirk Cousins, because when the stage is big and the lights are bright, he is scared. He's a deer in the headlights.
0-9 on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, and I was really hoping that a corner had been turned when he won at Dallas, because it was a primetime game. It was Sunday Night Football. At the time, it was against a team that had a winning record, was leading its division.
And Seattle was
and it
Sunday
seemed like
night,
a big
and he
game.
didn't play bad.
He played pretty well in that game too. And the other reason I kind of thought that maybe he had turned a corner or was in the process of turning a corner is that he was on a great run. I mean, he's having statistically a fantastic season.
MVP.
After the Bears game,
MVP
obviously the Packer game he threw away with the ridiculous, horrible decision, and then he was awful against the Bears. But after that, he put together like 2-3 months of impeccable football. I mean,
wasn't he NFC Offensive Player of the
month? Yeah,
in October was it?
I forget which month, but yeah,
October, November.
It was one of those 2 months.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it really is. So I don't blame us, or I don't speak for us, but I certainly can justify, where my confidence was coming from, where my belief in Kirk Cousins was coming from. Then you get to a Monday Night Football game. Where granted, his top 2 running backs aren't there, and the Vikings do a lot with the screen game, and they do a lot with the play action. And obviously, having Dalvin Cook in there makes a big difference in both areas. But again, statistically, this is not a great Green Bay defense. You should have been able to do a better job protecting the quarterback than you did. It would have been nice to support him with a little more of a running game.
He looked off early in the game.
But that's the thing. I mean, he was the same scared Kirk Cousins that we always see. And you could see it on the throw to C.J. Ham.
Yeah, especially that one.
I mean, and it wasn't just the way he threw it. It was the fact that he didn't see it. When C.J. Ham leaked out of the backfield on 3rd and goal, I instantly thought, okay, there it is. Easy. Didn't you dump it
6
right
points.
Up? Yeah. If he sees that, if his mind is right and he's not timid, if he's decisive, if he's a confident quarterback, he sees that. He sees C.J. Ham leak out, and he hits him in the left flat, and he gets to the pylon.
Yep.
Easy. But he waited so long, and then he made a horrible throw.
Yeah.
But even if he put it on his numbers, even if he, as they like to say in the business, even if he puts it on his numbers, he's not going to score because he waited so long. Yeah. But if he's a clear-minded, confident, decisive quarterback on that particular night, he sees it right away and he throws it. But he wasn't. And when I saw that play, I was instantly scared to death, thinking, "Oh my God, this could be one of those Kirk Cousins nights where he is just a deer in the headlights." And again, but you know what? Again, he's earned a certain amount of benefit of the doubt with his performance recently. So, when they got the interception by Anthony Harris, and they get into 3rd down right away, and I'm thinking, oh my God, they can't keep getting these takeaways. They can't keep putting him in great field position and getting nothing for it. They've got to get 7 here. And then he throws an absolute dime to Stephon Diggs. I mean, just a beautiful throw for a touchdown. So they actually get 7 points off a turnover instead of 3. He makes a big throw on 3rd down for a touchdown. I think, okay, that's what he needed. Maybe that's what they needed.
That was a great pass to Diggs.
It was just a dime. It was a perfect throw. And you could see, I mean, I can remember watching it, like when it left his hand, you could just tell that the timing on it was money. He was going to hit him in stride, and Diggs in a one-on-one situation like that, I'll take him every time. And there it is, 10-3. You got the 7, and I'm hoping that's going to be a turning point. And it wasn't at all. And then still, my hope wasn't completely dashed. Was it the 3rd quarter where he hits Diggs on 3rd and 19?
I think so.
Hit 3rd and 19, hits him for 28 yards.
Yep.
Wide open, but still a good throw and a big throw to make on 3rd down and a clutch point of the game.
18, wasn't it? Or
which allowed us, by the way, to cross midfield for the first time in the game. The first and only time that the Vikings offense crossed the 50 yard
because we scored.
They started in positive
because
yardage. Because of turnovers. But this is the first time.
Imagine if those turnovers didn't exist. How bad would this game have been?
Well, and check this out. Was it 2 or 3 plays later, they threw the interception. So I think we ran, and I'm not exaggerating here. I mean, this literally, it was either 1 or 2 plays we actually ran more plays in opponent's territory because of the turnovers. But we only crossed midfield once and only ran like another play or 2 before turning it over. And really, they just weren't heard from again after that. I also, I didn't understand with, and I know it was 4th and 24, but with 3.5 minutes left, you punt the ball down by 2 scores?
You don't.
I mean, by doing so, now there's 3.5 minutes left and 2 timeouts. You might have a chance, but
you're an onside kick.
Well, here's the thing. Well, that's my point. You have to ask yourself, and I don't know if they've got like percentage cards, like a little blackjack cheat card that tells them when to hit and when not to.
Like the 2 point.
Yeah, exactly. So my point is, in that situation, a coach has to ask himself, do we have a better chance of converting 4th and 24 or a better chance of getting an onside kick? Because we will need one of those 2 things if we're going to still win this football game.
Right.
And I've got to believe that with the new rules and seeing what we've seen in recent years from the onside kick, I think you probably have a better chance of converting a 4th and 24. Statistically,
Especially
I don't have the breakdown in
new
front
rules,
of me.
You're talking onside kick
Yeah,
rules?
onside kick rules. Yeah, where you can't pound it into the ground.
Especially when you factor in new rules when you can't touch the defender. There's the pass.
You can't take a running start. You can't stack one side of the line.
Yeah, but my point is,
there's a lot.
The rules would favor us for a pass interference way more call than it would for a.
And it's not even that hard to hit something beyond the 20. In today's day and age, I mean, I know on 4th and 24 they're going to have. They're gonna have a dime package in, and it's gonna be off.
They're gonna bend. They'll give up everything underneath.
But it's still, I still got to believe, even in that type of situation. And I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I got to believe that on a 4th and 24, you still have a statistically better chance of a conversion than you do of getting an onside kick. So you've got to pick your poison there. Which is going to be our better chance? I don't think it's a no-brainer decision. So I don't think it's like something he should be completely destroyed for or ripped for, because it also I don't think is. It's certainly way down on the list of reasons they lost, but I still think it's a bad decision made by a National Football League head coach at a pretty crucial time.
What about Stefanski's play calling?
I thought the play calling was not only bad, but at times bizarre. And we could go, we can go to the sequence where they tried to run the Philly miracle or whatever the hell the Eagles called it when they had that end around a receiver throws it to the quarterback.
Yeah.
And then Diggs.
It's a great play.
Well, you know what? I can't call it a bad call because it's third and 4. And clearly they had made up their mind that if this doesn't work, we're going for it on 4th down. And if you know you're going for it on 4th down, then I don't mind you getting goofy on 3rd down. I don't mind you taking a chance on 3rd down. So, I mean, that play call isn't the play call that bothered me, but I thought Booger McFarland nailed it. And I know he doesn't have a lot of fans out there. People are not too crazy about the Monday Night Football crew. But I think Booger made a number of good points during the game. It's just hard to take him seriously with the name like Booger. But
I'm baffled by that, by the way.
It is strange. But anyway, if you're gonna, so the problem isn't, on the sideline they decide, hey, we're gonna go for on 4th down. Let's get a little risky. Let's get a little creative on 3rd down. That's not a problem. But what you have to have is something in your back pocket for 4th down that is a money play, like just a quick little look into a tight end or something that is high percentage, where you've got a really good high percentage chance of coming back and getting that first. But they didn't. I mean, they ran the goofy end around play, which again, not a bad call because it was there. It was a bad throw by Diggs, maybe even a bad decision because he could have run for it. But correct, but Cousins was so open. I mean, the play's there.
I'm guessing he had indecision because he probably saw I could make this.
Well, he might have choked. Sometimes
he's like, but shit, he's going to score if I get him the ball.
And sometimes a wide open 3 is the hardest shot to hit. Yeah. And this was so wide open that you just kind of want to steer it in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to get into the psychology of what Stephon Diggs is thinking but he could have run for it had Cousins not been so open. But you call that play hoping that you have the exact situation that you have with him wide open. So I don't blame him for throwing it.
What'd they do on 4th?
He threw it poorly. When on 4th down, they threw this ridiculous deep ball to Thielen on a double move where Thielen pulled up and the ball was overthrown by 10 to 15 yards.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is that is not – I mean, if you're going to get goofy on 3rd down, then you've got to have that meat and potatoes go-to money play on 4th down that we got a great chance to convert. I would think something like just a little sit-down stop route by Rudolph, something like that, a quick slant to a guy like Thielen. There are things you can do. Now, what the Vikings offense really missed in this game, to me, was the ball catching ability and the run after catch ability of Dalvin Cook. Yeah. I mean, if you go back to the Dallas game or even the San Diego game, he does so much, and not even on called screens. Cousins is not the bravest guy in the pocket. He's not stand there and I'm gonna stand there. No, I don't think he's brave in the pocket at all. So he definitely checks down to Cook a lot, and sometimes he does it when he should. Sometimes he does it before he should. Yeah. But Dalvin Cook makes these mistakes or these checkdowns look like they're brilliant by design. Because he'll catch a ball at or near the line of scrimmage, and people will have angles on him, and he will just run right past him. Right. And you got 8, 10, 11 yards on a play where it looked like you're going to have nothing. And typically it's because he is the second, third, or fourth option with all the routes that are out there. So to me, what they really missed in his absence is that little outlet where you get something out of nothing. I mean, he takes that little check down with guys guys with clear shots at him, clear angles at him. I mean,
he's got a shoulder,
he just runs right by him.
Shoulder injury.
Both, too.
Okay. What is Madison's injury?
Ankle.
Oh, all right.
Yep. His
so there's no way he could play.
Well, I mean, he was actually questionable. So he was more of a game time decision. So there was actually hope for him. Now with the game this week against the Bears, literally nothing at stake for the Vikings. Nothing at all.
What do you do in this game? Do you really care?
I don't know.
I kind of feel bad for.
I don't play
season ticket holders because you're going to go watch a meaningless.
Yeah, well, I don't play Madison. I don't play Madison or Cook for sure. I probably don't play Thielen. I probably, guys like, in the secondary, guys like Holton Hill to me would see a ton of action. Mike Hughes would see a lot of action. Xavier Rhodes, I either sit or play very limited.
Yeah.
Kendricks is going to sit because he's hurt off the last game. And I don't know how serious it is, but I mean, you don't need him. Well, I would think, in all honesty, I would think that Mannion sees at least a half, if not more, in this game. And I don't know, why not?
Why not?
I mean, why not? I would. Thielen, Cousins. I mean, there's a lot of guys. Cook, Madison, Rhodes, Kendricks. I mean, there's just a lot of guys that I.
And Jeff, is it likely that we go to New Orleans? I mean, I know a lot of things have to happen, but was that the most likely scenario?
My understanding is, we're going to either go to New Orleans or Seattle. I think. Well, I mean, and there's still a lot to be decided. If the Packers were to lose to the Lions, which is unlikely, and New Orleans wins their game, it escapes me who they play, but I think it's a fairly easy game. I think it might be Carolina or something. But if the Packers lose and the Saints win, the Saints leapfrog the Packers, and the Packers would be then hosting the playoff game, which would be a likely destination for the Vikings. But again, Packers are at Detroit. Detroit's the only thing Detroit has going for them is I saw a week ago they activated Kerryon Johnson off the injured reserve list. I would assume. I don't remember seeing him get hurt against Denver. I guess I don't know specifically what his status would be, but he's a good running back. So he gives them something. I mean, he gives them something. But David Blau, I don't know.
The quarterback?
Yeah, that's the quarterback. He was a mediocre quarterback.
Was he a third string?
Yeah.
Did they have their backup insurance?
Yeah, their backup was Driscoll, and he got hurt. I never even heard of him before. David Blau was. When he was at Purdue, he was a below average Big Ten quarterback. He was a lower half Big Ten quarterback.
Okay.
So it's surprising to me that he's even around in the NFL. But I mean, I think he was pretty much, a practice squad kind of a guy until they got into this ridiculous situation.
How's he been playing?
Not good. Okay. I mean, but although he had his moments, his first start was on Thanksgiving against the Bears. And he threw like a 75-yard touchdown pass on I believe his first pass.
Nice.
So, I mean,
all downhill from there.
Well, no, but they had a lead. And the Bears wound up. I believe the Lions led until late in the fourth quarter against a Bears team that was in the middle of a bit of a resurgence at that time of the year. So, I mean, he did some things. He did a few things, but I don't expect.
Can the Vikings win in New Orleans?
Well, they can if Dalvin Cook is healthy. Well, here's the thing: I don't expect the Vikings to win a playoff game this year, but I'm not going to write it off just because of all the imperfections in these NFC teams. I mean, tell me who
with good records, by the way. I
mean, if you're going to ask me who the best team is all around right now in the NFC, I'm probably going to say San Francisco. The Saints are I would put as second best, and the Packers probably third right now, and that's only because Seattle has no healthy running backs. I mean, they got Marshawn Lynch for God's sake. So, I mean, if
3 years old and got to be out of shape.
He's got to be.
He's been working out for a month or two. He hasn't been expecting this call, has he?
He's probably been eating Twinkies, smoking pot.
Smoking Wonder Joints.
Yes.
Speaking of that, do you think Booger McFarland got his nickname because he was
eating boogers?
That he burped a lot and he sold Wonder Joints. It's got to be a Revenge of the Nerds.
Revenge of the Nerds? Maybe, but he's more of an ogre than he is a booger.
Yeah. Why don't people like him, by the way?
I don't know. I think he does a good job.
I don't mind him. I've heard all the criticism. And I thought, And
I think, Joe Tessitore might not be, Mr. Excitement. I think he's a really good, solid play-by-play guy. But I guess, if you're doing one broadcast a week, like NBC does and like ABC/ESPN does with Monday Night Football, I guess maybe people really have higher expectations. I mean, I firmly believe the NBC broadcast of Sunday Night Football is as good as it gets. I think Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth are fantastic. But here's the thing.
By the way, I love Chris Collinsworth.
I love Chris Collinsworth.
Why do people not like Chris Collinsworth?
I was just going to get into this because the armchair quarterbacks, they all think they know. Like the people who don't like Chris Collinsworth know literally 1/100th as much about football as Chris Collinsworth. Yeah. The people who don't like Booger McFarland literally know 1/100th about as much about football as Booger McFarland. Now, it's a little different, like a year ago with Jason Witten, because he would say really weird, stupid things that were just factually incorrect.
Okay.
They weren't like about analysis. He would he'd say something like about the rules, like that not knowing he would say something that would make clear he didn't know the actual rule of the game or something. Right. I mean, he just said some really weird.
I don't watch
stupid
much unless the Vikings are on.
Yeah, so. He was not good. You know what? Tony Romo's phenomenal, and I know some people who don't like him because he's so folksy. He's just like a guy in the booth, just excited and talking about football, and he doesn't necessarily have like polish. He's not like a polished, color commentator. Romo isn't, but he's so unbelievably insightful. But people.
What does Romo do?
Color commentary. He's
For what?
For CBS. He's the number one guy with Jim Nantz on CBS.
Right. That's right.
And he's fantastic. And but I mean, some people, myself included, took a little time to warm up to him because he's not polished. I mean, they threw him right in the booth, and the number one team. He took Phil Simms' spot, and they put Phil Simms into the studio for the pregame and postgame and all that stuff. And Phil Simms was awful in the booth, so it wasn't a hard call, I don't think. But it's just, I think everybody, the NFL is so big right now. And everybody, I mean, there's so many people are watching it. There's so many armchair quarterbacks out there, and so many people who just think, I could do that better than him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I mean, Chris Collinsworth is so good. And
I think one of the knocks on him is maybe he comes across
he's
as a
smug.
little smug.
Or as Michael Scott would say, there's the smudginess.
Which maybe I like him because I don't know how I could do that without coming across the same way.
Yeah.
And if you watch the 30 for 30 on him, have you seen this?
No. Why would they do a 30 for 30 on him?
I'm sorry.
He's not that
it was a
interesting.
Football Life deal, not the 30 for 30.
Okay.
Yeah,
That makes more
Life.
sense.
Similar thing.
That makes more sense.
But you've watched some of those Football Lives, right? Those are good. The guy comes from his background and everything and what led him to the NFL. I don't know. I just think the guy's impressive.
I think he's just good at what he does. I think he's really insightful. Yeah. And what he did last year, in the middle of the Bears' big season, he broke down Mitchell Trubisky in a way that, Phil Olsen, we get it. You like the Packers, Phil. I love you.
Remember
Phil.
the
I do. I love you.
70s?
I love you, Phil. I love you. But a year ago, when the Bears were having this big resurgence.
Go Pack, go.
And what were the Bears last year? 12-4, 13-3, whatever they were. And all of a sudden, it looked like Mitchell Trubisky might be the quarterback they thought he was when they drafted him. And by the way, did you see Mahomes? When Mahomes and Deshaun Watson were both drafted after Trubisky in the same draft. When Mahomes threw a touchdown pass the other day against Chicago, he ran off the field counting up to 10 because that's how many players were picked in front of him in the draft, including Mitchell Trubisky at number 2. A not so subtle shot.
That's a little bit.
A not so subtle shot at the Bears.
Though, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. But anyway, last year when the Mitchell Trubisky bandwagon was as full as it will ever be, because he does suck and he will continue to suck.
Comments?
But
I love it. No, I wish we knew. Just kidding.
But
just kidding.
But when the Trubisky bandwagon was thick, when you had to buy a reserved seat on it, and everybody was loving him, Collinsworth broke it down beautifully, saying that he's a really good first read quarterback. In other words, he goes up to the line of scrimmage. He knows who his first option is. He'll take the snap. He'll go back. He'll look for that first option. If that first option is there, he can deliver it. He can see it. He can deliver it on time. He's got a strong arm, and he's certainly got the athletic ability to move around if he needs to. But if if they take that first option away, and he's got to sit there and go through his progressions, he's screwed. And that it is his passer rating after his first option, his passer rating is horrible. And they even put up a graphic that backed it up. And I never would have seen that or picked that up. That's the kind of thing that I think it takes a real football insider to say that, hey, Mitch Trubisky is a really good first read quarterback. If you take the first option away from him, it becomes a bit of a problem. And I thought that was that's the kind of insightful thing that a fan can really use.
Yes.
And that very few people offer.
Now I remember from the Football Life, they did a segment on how many hours, how much time he spends preparing for the games. Mm-hmm. I mean, he doesn't just take it off the top of his head.
Heck no.
He loves this and takes this stuff very seriously. So.
All right. Well, we're about to hit our time here, so
we got to talk a little bit of golfers, I think.
Well, today. No, because we're going to be back on Monday.
Oh, we're going to be back
Monday. Yep.
Sorry, blew up.
Today is December 26th, for people who are wondering. So what we're going to do...
Is it Boxing, it's Boxing Day?
Yeah, it is. It is correct. So my friend Jason will be going home and boxing the clown in honor of Boxing Day.
Hey.
So the college football playoff is this weekend. That is number 1 LSU versus number 4 Oklahoma, number 2 Ohio State versus number 3 Clemson. I have LSU and Clemson coming out of these games, as do most people, so I'm pretty much on the chalk. If Justin Fields was healthy, I'd probably have Ohio State to win the national title. He's not healthy. We saw against Wisconsin what a struggle it was for him just to move around. He says his knee is 80 to 85%.
He's a quarterback.
which is a quote that I think his coach is probably not happy that he gave that up to the media. He got hurt against Michigan. And then he still came back the following week and played against Wisconsin. It was clear that his mobility was not there.
He needs to be mobile in order for them to win.
Yeah. He's here it is, like 3 weeks later, you think maybe there was a certain amount of healing. that maybe the knee wouldn't be an issue, and he comes right out and says it's 80 to 85%.
Maybe it's self-handicapping.
Maybe he's just waiting in the weeds. Maybe he's just laying in the weeds. He's
it's intentional.
And I know that everyone, and I want to pick Ohio State because everyone's on Clemson. Clemson undefeated, really playing well right now at the right time. Trevor Lawrence, after a bad start to the year, has come on really strongly. Well, Clemson has become the trendy pick. If Fields was healthy, I'd be on Ohio State. Having Fields come out and say he's about 85%, that means I got to stick with Clemson in that one, and certainly LSU over Oklahoma. But I'm going to be pulling hard for Oklahoma. I think it'd be really cool for Jalen Hurts to win a national title with the second team after winning one with Alabama, to win one with Oklahoma. I think it'd be really, really cool. And he's so much fun to watch in that Oklahoma system. It's just a much better system for him than the Alabama system was, and his talents are really on display.
Louisiana State University.
Yeah, Louisiana State University. That is Joe Burrow, who of course was your Heisman Trophy winner, and I think he's going to be a great pro.
Baton Rouge, right?
Yeah, if I had the number one pick and I needed a quarterback, I'd be all over Joe Burrow next year. I think he is the best pro prospect of the bunch.
Well, that's what I want to ask you before we sign off and tune in Monday. We're going to do probably two next week, right?
Yeah. Well, we're going to for sure do a show Monday, which we'll be able to talk about the Viking game. We'll be able to talk about the college football playoff semifinals, which will take place this weekend, and we will preview the Outback Bowl, Gophers Auburn. It's kind of funny, those stupid little games on Facebook. Like, if you answer these questions, we can tell you what your education level is, or we can tell you what part of the country you live in.
You play those games?
Well, I played one today because it said if you answer these questions, we'll be able to guess what college football team you root for. You know what mine was? Auburn.
War Eagle.
Unlikely Facebook.
War Eagle.
Try again, Facebook. So Monday we will review the Viking game, preview the playoff opponent. We will talk college football playoff, and we will preview the Gopher Auburn matchup in the Outback Bowl. And the plan right now is actually to come back with a second show next week on Thursday, January 2nd, where we will be able to basically spend a half hour talking about the Gopher Auburn Outback Bowl game with the day after reaction. So we might double up next week, Monday and Thursday, with the topics that I just gave you. You want to hit up top?
I got one more question for you. We have time?
Well, of course.
You talked about it on Tuesday, so I want to talk about it here because you screwed up Tuesday. All right.
I did.
So we know you firmly believe that when the stage is big and the lights are bright, Kirk Cousins cannot.
Wets himself.
He shits the bed.
Yeah,
he does not play close to even average.
Nope, he sucks his thumb.
So knowing that, what do we do with him? Is he on the team next year? Does he have to be on the team next year?
Well, yeah, he's got a guaranteed contract.
And then after that, no, right?
This goes back to my old theory that you want a great quarterback or a terrible quarterback. You don't want a middle of the road quarterback, and that's what the Vikings have. They have a guy who will never get them to the Super Bowl, let alone ever win a Super Bowl. Cousins he's just not man enough for it, to be perfectly honest. He's flat out not tough enough to win big games like that. So you will never win a Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins. But I will say this: he's elite statistically, and he is better than anything else that is out there. So you're going to wind up hanging on to him, and he'll suck the life out of you until you get rid of him. Yeah. But he'll definitely be here next year. Well, and they were talking about with the year he's having, how you got to sign him into an extension, and I can certainly understand why. I get that train of thought. It makes sense, but I just feel it's like Tony Romo. I talk about Tony Romo all the time. He was just good enough for the Cowboys to be bad enough, and they couldn't let him go. I mean, they couldn't move on from him because he was not bad. I mean, statistically, he put up big numbers. He was a Pro Bowler. He was somebody who gave him a chance every year, but he was somebody who just would go. He would find the most bizarre ways to blow it. Matt Ryan's another one.
Wasn't that redhead in Cincinnati similar too?
Yeah, Andy Dalton. Yeah, thank God for the Bengals.
Phillip Rivers, maybe. Even.
Thank God for the Bengals. Yeah, that they finally are moving on from Andy Dalton, and hopefully for San Diego's sake, they can do it with Phillip Rivers. I mean, you don't need these guys who just put up these huge numbers on bad teams. You need a guy. Like an Eli Manning, who just at least a couple times in his career is going to have the stones to beat teams that he shouldn't beat and get you a ring. And Kirk Cousins is not and never will be that guy.
Can you tell Phil Olsen, hey, we're happy your Packers won, dude, but they're going nowhere in the playoffs. Can you tell them they're going nowhere?
It's a good thing Phil's a good guy. You know what, though? All year long, I've thought the Packers are going nowhere, and they've proven me wrong over and over. Yeah, well, I still think they're the third best team in the NFC right now. So it's hard. And then if the Seahawks had a running back, I would make that fourth. But
do you think with a healthy Dalvin Cook, we're a better team? Or is it because of the Kirk Cousins factor in the bright lights big stage that we're not?
Well, I all year long, I thought if we had Dalvin Cook, a full-strength Vikings team is better than the Packers. At this point, it's hard. You can't make the argument. It's hard to even make the argument after the butt
Andy
kicking.
Dalton's sister.
Wow. It reminds me of a joke a friend of mine made once. We knew a redheaded girl from Happy Valley. The home of the Penn State Nittany Lions.
Been there.
And the name of the stadium is Beaver Stadium. And my friend said to this girl, he said, if they named the stadium after you, they'd have named it Red Beaver Stadium.
But I'll pump.
All right, on that note, you want to say anything about Uptown Fitness before we go? Or?
Check out UptownFitnessMN.com. Schedule your free session, no obligation. Just come on in. We'll put you through a session. You'll see the gym, experience what we do. We'll talk about your goals. We will get you where you want to get. You take the first step. We'll take the rest with you.
Oh, we're done?
And you need Uptown Fitness, Jeff. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for the comments. Keep them coming. Peace out.